Yeah, Grok didn't respond. Grok actually does respond to everything, but not when you ask it if Charlie Kirk's show is now syndicated by a foreign agent of Israel. That's one thing it cannot respond to. Sorry, at Grok, I can't find your answer in the replies. What's the connection between Israel and the syndicator of the Charlie Kirk show? The Charlie Kirk show is syndicated as a podcast and was on radio via Salem Media Group, Salem Podcast Network, which maintains its partnership with Turning Point USA post-Kirk's assassination. Registered as a foreign agent for Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The $6 million contract covers strategic communications, media services, digital campaigns targeting Gen Z, including podcasts, social media, and explicitly includes integrating the narrative messaging with Salem Media Network. There was one person from TPUSA who I saw that came out and said they endorsed Thomas Massie for his congressional election, his primary campaign. And good on you. I'm sure that it's like, I'm sure that your brain is probably severed, like in the show Severance, and you're probably going back to TPUSA headquarters, and you're not going to remember ever tweeting out that you endorsed Thomas Massie. And then when you're at TPUSA headquarters, they're probably going to make you read an apology note 1,000 times over for tweeting out that you supported Thomas Massie. But still, I like to see it. Unfortunately, we cannot say the same about the rest of the individuals at TPUSA, because they came out to say that actually Charlie Kirk, who had by the way, all accounts, great relationship with Thomas Massie. He loved Thomas Massie. You can go through his Twitter account and find countless examples of him saying like, W. Thomas Massie, we love you, retweeting him, so on and so forth. They went out to say, actually, no, he hated Thomas Massie. He hated Thomas Massie. So he would have supported the guy that was campaigning against Thomas Massie in support of a war against Iran, which Charlie Kirk sacrificed his organization, his friendship with Trump, his donors, and ultimately his life to fight against. How stupid do you think we are? You're telling us that the guy that was the loudest figure fighting against war with Iran and fighting for the release of the Epstein documents, and these are all things that Charlie was passionate about, and we can look back at his tweets, his statements. You're telling me that he was going to support the exact opposite? It's ludicrous, but take a look.
I wanted to know a little bit more about the Thomas Massie loss, and what's your thoughts on that?
I got so many thoughts. It's interesting, David. I've been accused, I think the organization's been accused, Erika's been accused of betraying Charlie by not coming out and endorsing one way or the other and not being more involved in that race. I will tell you, and I haven't said this publicly, but and I know this isn't necessarily a question, but it's an opportunity to address it. But, after the One Big Beautiful Bill vote, and I want to respect Charlie's privacy as well. It's always the tension in all of this. There's private conversations. Charlie was a fan of Thomas Massie, especially historically, liked him on war, liked him on being a budget hawk and spending. But he was pretty frustrated that Massie didn't vote in the affirmative on the Big Beautiful Bill.
Now, do I have to go into why this is so stupid? We'll be right back with the video, but first, a major update from our sponsor, Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the United States and SAGA in Canada. Less than 48 hours ago, the company released news suggesting it may be sitting on one of the largest titanium vanadium systems on Earth. To put it in perspective, I'll show a comparison on screen to China's Panzihua deposit, a state-linked, multi-billion-dollar system responsible for over 40% of global vanadium supply and central to China's critical minerals dominance. The global vanadium and titanium market is worth over $50 billion annually, and Panzihua alone supplies more than 40% of the world's vanadium. Now enter Saga Metals with the Radar project, which appears to dwarf the Chinese system in scale. Saga may control the largest known vanadium-titanium intrusive system momentum on the planet. This shifts the conversation from exploration to continental scale strategic supply security. If ongoing drilling confirms the early data, radar could become a massive North American titanium and vanadium supply source, major U.S. national security priority tied directly to next generation technologies. Governments are already directing billions of dollars into securing domestic critical mineral supply chains to reduce dependence on foreign sources. The state-linked company behind the Chinese project is valued at over $3 billion, roughly 6,000% larger than Saga's current market cap, showing the scale of what's potentially developing here. North American mineral exploration is making a major comeback, driven by government mandates, strong drill results, and teams like Saga executing year-round. I didn't think the momentum around Saga could accelerate further, but less than 48 hours ago, it did in a big way. If you want to learn more about this critical mineral story, check out the link in the description. Special thanks to Saga Metals for sponsoring today's video. Do I really need to go why into how stupid of an argument this is? So you're telling me that Charlie Kirk was against the war on Iran, he was against the proxy war against Russia with Ukraine, he fully supported the release of the Epstein files, right? And he was actively like waging this hybrid war against these billionaire Israeli donors. And you mean to tell me that he was willing to really get upset with Thomas Massie in a really meaningful way? Like, we're not going to support you anymore, Thomas Massie, despite the fact that you are fighting. You're the only guy fighting for everything practically that we really care about, the big ticket issue items, because you didn't vote away that Trump wanted on the big, beautiful bill. The big, beautiful bill, which like allocated more money for Israel, more money for Ukraine. Like, are we supposed to believe that? Are we supposed to believe that, you know, in the middle of the fight for the Epstein files, all this stuff that like Charlie Kirk was more concerned about the big, beautiful bill? I don't know. Sounds like a Zionist spin. And if you also think it sounds like a Zionist spin, you might be right. Because we have now learned that the Charlie Kirk show, which, by the way, the Charlie Kirk show should have stopped when Charlie Kirk was no longer here, you know, especially considering like we don't have any answers for why he's gone. You know, you've got Dumb and Dumber sitting here on this show, Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett, and they're sitting around, you know, talking about Charlie, talking about what happened, talking about the news and stuff, just looking there, Dumb and Dumber, Beavis and Butthead. And all the while, everyone on the planet is like, but what happened to Charlie? And they're talking about the big, beautiful bill. The hell is that? So James Lee said, FYI, this show is now being run by a registered foreign agent of Israel. Seriously, look it up. I'm not joking. Thomas Massie responded to this because he happened to be the subject matter of the video. He said, at Grok, is it true that Charlie Kirk show is now distributed by a registered foreign agent of Israel? Drop a like on that. I thought I already did. Yeah, Grok didn't respond. Grok actually does respond to everything, but not when you ask it if Charlie Kirk's show is now syndicated by a foreign agent of Israel. That's one thing it cannot respond to. Sorry, at Grok, I can't find your answer in the replies. What's the connection between Israel and the syndicator of the Charlie Kirk show? Yeah, Grok still didn't reply. Go figure. Can respond to anything but that. Well, someone went on the Grok, the Grok page where you can, actually go and ask it questions like in its own personal platform. And here's what Grok had to say. Yes, there's a substantive connection here worth noting. The Charlie Kirk show is syndicated as a podcast and was on radio via Salem Media Group, Salem Podcast Network, which maintains its partnership with Turning Point USA post Kirk's assassination. Salem's media chief strategy officer, Brad Parskele, owns and controls Clock Tower X LLC, that entity registered under FAR, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, on September 18, 2025, just days after the death of Charlie Kirk. Parskele registered as a foreign agent for Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, The $6 million contract covers strategic communications, media services, digital campaigns targeting Gen Z, including podcasts, social media, and explicitly includes integrating the narrative messaging with Salem Media Network. So the distributor has direct high-level overlap and active collaboration with a registered Israeli foreign agent. Not the show itself, but the ties are real and public. So what they're saying is the distributor is literally a foreign agent of Israel. The syndicator, the distributor, they are a foreign agent of Israel. $6 million contract, at least, maybe more. That's all we know of, at least. And it just so happens that Parskele and Clock Tower X LLC, they registered as a foreign agent of Israel literally 8 days after Charlie Kirk was killed. And then they register as a foreign agent, they get a $6 million paycheck, and they continue to syndicate the show, the Charlie Kirk show. And it's not just them. It's not just them. JP Sears, who does a lot of great work, he shared this on Twitter. It's not just the Charlie Kirk show. Did you know that the Charlie Kirk show, Josh Hammer, Dennis Prager, Laura Trump, Larry Elder, Hugh Hewitt, Dinesh D'Souza, Sebastian Gorka, Brandon Tatum, and Todd Starnes all broadcast on a network whose chief strategy officer is a federally registered foreign agent for the Israeli government? Our registration 7649 filed with the DOJ September 18th, 2025. Boy, oh boy, they can't run anymore. And then Tyler Boyer of TPUSA, the guy that allegedly likes to, he likes to do things with, young males. He tweeted this out. I would love if someday X had a little icon next to the names of lobbyists and influencers getting paid by foreign governments. Think about what that would do to help save the country. I can't help but laugh. I literally can't help but laugh. Yeah, so this person, Jihadi Noticer, tweeted this out. What a name, with the Israel flag next to his title. Yeah, wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing? Well, yeah, that would be radical, says JP Sears. Then people would know that the Charlie Kirk show is syndicated by Salem Media, which is led by Brad Parskele and Clock Tower X, who is literally all foreign agents of Israel. Can't make this stuff up. Put the fries in the bag, Tyler Boyer. Put the Israel flag in your bio, buddy. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support. We'll be right back with the video, but first, a major update from our sponsor, Saga Metals, trading as SAGMF in the United States and SAGA in Canada. Less than 48 hours ago, the company released news suggesting it may be sitting on one of the largest titanium vanadium systems on Earth. To put it in perspective, I'll show a comparison on screen to China's Panzihua deposit, a state-linked, multi-billion-dollar system responsible for over 40% of global vanadium supply and central to China's critical minerals dominance. The global vanadium and titanium market is worth over $50 billion annually, and Panzihua alone supplies more than 40% of the world's vanadium. Now enter Saga Metals with the Radar project, which appears to dwarf the Chinese system in scale. Saga may control the largest known vanadium-titanium intrusive system on the planet. This shifts the conversation from exploration to continental-scale strategic supply security. If ongoing drilling confirms the early data, Radar could become a massive North American titanium and vanadium supply source, major U.S. national security priority tied directly to next-generation technologies. Governments are already directing billions of dollars into securing domestic critical mineral supply chains to reduce dependence on foreign sources. The state-linked company behind the Chinese project is valued at over $3 $3 billion, roughly 6,000% larger than Saga's current market cap, showing the scale of what's potentially developing here. North American mineral exploration is making a major comeback, driven by government mandates, strong drill results, and teams like Saga executing year-round. I didn't think the momentum around Saga could accelerate further, but less than 48 hours ago, it did in a big way. If you want to learn more about this critical mineral story, check out the link in the description. Special thanks to Saga Metals for sponsoring today's video.